Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new reading vlog. It's so ridiculously late to be starting a vlog. I say ridiculously late. It's like 11:30 at night. This is not the time to start a vlog, but we're doing it anyway. Somewhat crazily, I have never read a point horror book. I don't actually think I even knew what point horror was until I started seeing people talk about it on BookTube. And then a lady that I used to work with gave me like 5 point horror books to try, and they've just been sat languishing on my shelf, and I thought October is the perfect time to give them a try. I have read similar things because I used to have like Goosebumps books when I was a kid. That was kind of my thing. I used to get like Goosebumps books from like the school book fair and stuff, but even that I haven't read many of. I came to horror much later, like literally right around the time I started my channel is when I first started to get involved, first started to pick up horror books. So I kind of missed out, and so I really wanted to give them a try. I have started already, so we're really doing this all arse about face, as my mother would say, because I'm halfway through my first read, which is The Babysitter by R.L. Stine. I love this book, okay? Just the vibe of it, because $2.99, and then someone sold it for like 30p. That's crazy, right? I mean, the 30p is not hugely crazy because you can buy books for like 50p in charity shops, and I don't know where that 30p was from. Was that like a car boot or something? I don't know. But the fact that it was $2.99, those are the days, hey? I will say this was written before I was born because it's from the 80s, I think. It was written in 1989. So actually only a year before I was born, so it's not that much earlier. Anyway, let me tell you about The Babysitter. I'm really enjoying this. Like, is it going to be a 5-star blow me away book? No. Am I having a really good time? Yes. I have sat here and read 83 pages in like an hour and a half, maybe less than that, maybe like an hour-ish. Anyway, it's such a fast read, and it's only like 160 pages anyway, and it's just quite fun. I moved you. You're currently perched on my chair, and I accidentally just moved you, so if it's jolted weirdly, I'm so sorry. What is this about? It's about this young girl who has just kind of started this babysitting job, and it's so 80s because like she has to travel across town on a bus, and then it's like this creepy house, and there's a landline, and they're talking about tapes and VCRs and just things that I was growing up with in the 90s. I say so 80s, it's like very 80s, 90s, right? So obviously there's no cell phone, and I'm not sure how old she is because she's a sophomore, and I don't know what that is age wise. I want to say like freshman, sophomore, senior. No, I don't know how American school systems work. I want to say like 15. I want to say they're like 15. But it has this kind of America nostalgia, I'll say, like how I remember thinking of America when I was growing up, because it's all like they go to the mall, and there's a guy called Chuck, and there's a like pizza diner place, and it's just all very like what I remember being quintessentially American at the time. But she starts this job, the kid's really cute, but he really likes to scare her, and the house is pretty creepy anyway because it's like all run down. And to top it off, there is this guy going around beating up babysitters, specifically babysitters. So why she has decided to become a babysitter for like, I don't know if it's like the first time, but she's definitely taken on this babysitter job at a time when babysitters are actively being targeted by some weirdo. Her mum is more than happy for her to do this, encourages it because she's like a single mum and she needs money, or they need money, and she wants to help her mum out, and Christmas is approaching and all this kind of stuff. I don't know that I would allow my child to go and just do a babysitting job across town on their own at this age with an active like prowler targeting babysitters. Seems bad. Seems like general slasher vibe, you know, like when people just make really stupid decisions in slasher movies. That's kind of like the vibe, or just horror movies in general, when you're like, obviously don't do this, this is very stupid. So there's a few things, like she's been to the house to babysit this kid like maybe 3 or 4 times, and each time there's been something weird happen or something a little bit creepy, and sometimes it's like explainable. Well, all the time it's been kind of explainable, but then there's always just been that little thing left over, like there's just something a little bit weird about it. And our main character Jenny is an overthinker, and so every time something happens we get her thought process where she is like immediately assuming that she's about to be murdered, sort of thing. Like what happened? Oh, someone knocked on the door and she was like, oh my god, what if it's somebody like the cops or the authorities coming to tell me that there's been a toxic spill right outside the house and we all need to evacuate, and you know, if I don't answer then I'm just breathing in like toxic fumes. Like, she's such a catastrophizer. So there's a few little things going on. She is panicked over everything. There's this guy who's quite into her and she's not sure about him and she has questions about him. He's new to the area. You obviously got this prowler who's attacking babysitters. You've got a kid that likes to scare his babysitter, so there's some jump scares that way. And she is very easily afraid. So it's a good fun time. I'm not like scared because obviously this is for children, right? But there was a little bit where I was like, I could not feel like my heart going, but just like I could feel a little bit of tension when I was reading it, because I was like, oh my god, like is there someone in the house? I don't know. And that was about the time that somebody drove really loudly past my door. My house. It is absolutely wild to me that this is just like a common thing in, I don't know if it's still so common in America, but I'm sure it was so common in the 80s and 90s because it just seemed to be like on all TV programs. But that these teenagers just go and look after kids that they don't know, and have like, she's barely met this kid. She met him at the mall and her parents were like, hey, oh, he seems to like you, we need a babysitter, do you want to come to our house on your own twice a week and look after this kid that you don't know? Which is wild to me, because I can't imagine leaving Jay with someone that I just met, some random kid that I met at the mall. How wild. What a different time it was. I don't know if it still happens, but my god, that is crazy to me. Like, there's only a few people that I will leave my child with, and pretty much all of them are family members. So I feel like this is exactly what I need. I needed this kind of spooky vibe. These are going to be so fast to read because, like I say, I read that really quickly, and I'm like halfway through in like an hour. They're just a good time. I'm loving the kind of spooky vibe. I can see why they were so popular and why people remember them so fondly, like this nostalgia, because it just speaks of that kind of time, because this is like on the cusp of when I was born, obviously. So I don't remember the 90s as well as I do the noughties, but I am relating to a lot of this stuff, like with the technology and all this. And yeah, I'm just having a good time so far. So I'm going to try and finish it tomorrow, because I have 5 books, like I say. 3 of them are written by R.L. Stine and 2 of them are written by authors that I haven't read from before. I've read from R.L. Stine through Goosebumps when I was a kid, but I haven't read anything from him in a while, and I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what the other stories that he's written are like, and also what the vibe is from authors in point horror that I haven't read from before. I want to see, like, because my understanding is that point horror is just kind of like a series that they put out and then just different authors wrote for it. Who was the publisher? I don't know. Is point horror the publisher? Oh no, Hippo's the publisher. So yeah, I'm just kind of seeing, like, I'm interested to see what the kind of vibe was outside of R.L. Stine, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I need to go to sleep. That's what I need to do because I'm really tired. So I'm going to go and do that. And when I next speak to you, I'll definitely have finished The Babysitter, and I might even have started book 2. It's been a few days since we last spoke. I got slightly distracted, but I have been reading. But I also, side note, read a book about the making of the Scream films. It's called Your Favourite Scary Movie. I listened to the audiobook and it was just such a good time. It's all about the highs and lows of making the films. There's lots of interviews. There's a whole section about a whole chapter, sorry, about Wes Craven, who just sounds like he was an absolute stand-up guy, like a really nice person. And it was just like such a good reading experience. Lots of anecdotes about the films. They didn't like sugarcoat it. They talked about the good, they talked about the bad. They called out some like bad behaviour by different people. There's a whole bit about Harvey Weinstein because he was kind of loosely involved. It was a Weinstein production, but it was more his brother. And there's a whole thing where they're just like talking about what a terrible person he is. And it was just like really interesting to go from like when it was first conceived all the way up till them getting ready for the 7th film. So they're like talking about the pre-production for the 7th film and like the casting and all of this. And I love the Scream movies. As I sit here in my Ghostface hoodie, I'm obsessed with the Scream movies. So when I was listening to it, I was like, damn, I really want to rewatch it. So I've rewatched Scream 1. It was even better than I remember. Like, it was just such a good time. And now I want to rewatch them all. I'm hoping to do it all this month. If not, I'd really like to watch them all by the end of the year. Someone said to me when I was talking about this yesterday, oh, is it like the first 3 or 4 that are good? And I'm like, they're all good. I know that some of them are better than others. I know that people have problems with some of the later ones, but I think they're all good and they all have different things to say, and it evolves as the discussions in the in the films evolve as well. So I have just been having such a good time with it, but I have been reading my books. So let me tell you about them. I finished The Babysitter. I finished this a couple of days ago, and I settled on a 3.5, so I had a good time with this, but in the second half, I was like, this girl is making stupid decisions, and I understand that this is a teen book and she is a teenager, but my God, girl, tell an adult the creepy shit that is happening. I will say that it had like a twist that I didn't see coming, and there was a couple of moments that were genuinely quite creepy. Oh my God, you just sit down. I think my stand is on its way out. So let's just go with that. If you sit down, we're just going to go with. So yeah, I did have a really good time. Obviously, it's a really easy read. It's a teen read. But it had some really good moments. Like, I thought it was a good fun time. So 3.5. Then I have started Freeze Tag. I feel like this is going to end up the same because there are things that I prefer and things that are more annoying compared to The Babysitter. So this is about this kind of group of kids on this suburban street. And there is one kid called Lainey who is really fucking creepy. I listened to a podcast called Real Life Ghost Stories. And there is a running joke when they talk about stories about creepy kids, ghosts or humans. And the running joke is, I would drop kick that child down the stairs. I would drop kick this child down several flights of stairs. Okay? The prologue is when they are like between the ages of 9 and 11, like the core people that you're following, the core cast. And this girl, as a mother, I would drop kick her violently down the stairs. She is creepy as shit. She's so scary. She is quite menacing, and she is quite left out. Now, I will say there is some hard things to read about her. She's not had a very nice upbringing. She doesn't get a lot of love from like her family and stuff, and that is portrayed very quickly. So part of you wants to feel sorry for her, but then she's so unbelievably unsettling that you just kind of don't, hence the drop kicking down the stairs. And they're playing this game and they're playing freeze tag, right? So I think like in the UK we don't really call it freeze tag. I want to say stuck in the mud, but when you play stuck in the mud you can stick people by like crawling through their legs. Like when you're not supposed to like freeze in like a position, you freeze with your legs and like this, and then someone can crawl between your legs and then you're unstuck and you can carry on playing. With this you're frozen, right? And it's the tagger has to freeze everybody to win the game, right? But Lainey is actually freezing people. Like they cannot move, they are freezing cold, they're frozen. And she does this at the beginning of the book. It's all in the synopsis, so this is not like a spoiler, this is literally in the prologue. And she tells this guy, the oldest guy, West, who's like 11 at this point, that he must always love her best and then she'll unfreeze everyone. So he makes this promise, and then we jump forward and like West is in a relationship with our main character and Lainey is like, you said you was gonna love me best, and she's being really horrendous. Like she's going around now like threatening everyone to kind of get what she wants. She's still a very creepy child, even at the age of what, 14, 15. So the things that I'm enjoying more about it is I feel like because Lainey is such a creepy character, that side of it, there's been a couple of moments that have genuinely been so creepy because of her. So I enjoy how she's written. The main character, Megan, is insufferable. And I know, this is like the early 90s. She's a teenager. I've got to cut her some slack. But my God, what a selfish, entitled little shit she is. Maybe that's a bit harsh. But she's basically like, hey, my life is perfect. And now Lainey is like disrupting this. And again, we're not informing parents. I understand that you can't necessarily explain that she's physically freezing people into actual ice statues, but you can say that she's like blackmailing or something. You can bring an adult into the situation, but she's just like constantly comparing herself to everyone else. So she compares her parents to West's parents, and she's not a fan of her own parents, even though as far as I can see they seem fine. It seems like she has a pretty nice life. I'm not really understanding the beef with the parents, unless of course it's just that she's a teenager, and I'm sure I have that to look forward to, and at one point Jensen will no longer wish to be seen with me, but I'm just not really getting it. And then she is so like self-involved in her little her and West bubble and how in love they are, that it's all she kind of like thinks about. So even when things start going down, it's not about how this is impacting West, bearing in mind he is the one that Lainey is going to and being like, you said you was going to love me most or love me best and I'm going to freeze people if you don't do this. She's like, but what about me? How could he do this to me? And I'm just like, child. She is a child. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe I'm too old to be relating to the teenage angst of it all, but the creepy kid I'm enjoying. So I thought this was really well done. I enjoyed how it kind of upped the creep factor. I enjoyed some of the twists and turns, but again, it was her making bad decisions that really irritated me. But I did think there was some creepy moments in the house. Like it was spread over more time than I thought it was going to be. I kind of thought this was going to be a one night situation, but it was like lots of escalating events over a period of time. This one, I am enjoying the kind of threat aspect more. This was like menacing phone calls and noises around the house and stuff. This is a very clear threat. But yeah, I'm just like, oh God, girl, please just think about the bigger picture. And it even says at one point in the book, you know, she was at that age before she had compassion. And I'm like, I don't know that that's true. It's like, oh, at age 16, compassion kicks in. I'm like, what? What are we talking about? That's not true. That's not true. That's you making excuses for your own shit behaviour, Megan, okay? I'm finding it so easy to fit like half a book in when I actually sit down and pick them up. So I actually have an evening free tonight. Danny is going away for the weekend, which is something that doesn't happen very often. In fact, we were talking about this. Don't think he's been away for like a weekend since before Jensen was born. Whereas I often go away for weekends. Feel quite bad about that. I'm often going away because all of my friends live far away and all of his friends are local. But our local football team is playing away, and so he's going to go with like his brother and a couple of friends and stay away for the weekend, which I think is really nice because he doesn't get to do that very often. So he's going to do that. Jensen is going to my mum's. I would say that I'm going to try and read the rest of the Point Horror books, but also Scream and Baldur's Gate are calling, so I don't know whether I'm going to finish them all, but I should be able to get a good chunk read because I've kind of sort of staggered them in the order that they interest me. So starting with the one that I'm least excited for, and then the one that appealed to me the most is the last book I'll read. Whether that will happen, I don't know, because also 3 of them are R.L. Stein. So the first thing I did was rank the R.L. Steins, then I ranked the other 2 authors and slotted them in between. So it's R.L. Stein, other, R.L. Stein, other, R.L. Stein. So I don't know whether that's going to be the order that I actually like them, but we'll see. Right now, I have to go back to work. I'm watching Critical Role while I work. I'm watching Campaign 1, but also I'm watching Campaign 4 as it airs because that has started now. So I'm actually watching a Campaign 1 episode. I'm looking for my phone. You are my phone. I'm watching a Campaign 1 episode now while I finish some stuff that requires a bit more brain power, and then I have some more admin stuff later. Then I'm going to try and watch episode 2 of Critical Role season 4 because yeah, that demands a bit more of my attention. I don't know everything that happens in Campaign 1, but I know quite a lot of it from watching Vox Machina, so it's easier for me to follow it and do other things, whereas season 4 or Campaign 4, sorry, this is all brand new. It's a brand new world, it's brand new players for a lot of it, so I just need to lock in a bit more. So I need to stop talking to you and I need to go and work. So I'm going to do that, and I'll speak to you later. Please ignore the fact that I look a mess and that my bedside table is really untidy. I'm about to jump in the bath, but I wanted to update you because since we last spoke, I watched 2 Scream movies, which I really enjoyed. So I watched Scream 2, which I gave a 5-star, and I watched Scream 3, which I gave a 4.5 star. I've seen all these movies before, of course. I don't know why I'm telling you ratings, but 1 and 2 are definite 5 stars. And 3, I understand why people don't like it as much, and obviously I enjoyed it slightly less, but I still enjoy a lot of the conversations that it has around the movie industry. I think where it kind of falls down a little bit for me, and perhaps this is spoilers, so I'll put a spoiler tag for a movie, I think that the reason it doesn't hit quite the same is because even though it's still all tied to Sydney, it doesn't feel like it's happening around Sydney. Like Sydney's a bit removed, and because she is still part of the film, I know there's some films later on where she's not part of it, or one film where she's not part of it, but because she's still part of the film and like the main tie, the fact that the deaths aren't impacting her as much because she doesn't actually know these people, I think that's why it loses something for me, because I still actually think that the killer reveal is pretty good. I know some people don't like that kind of reveal, and he's not the best Ghostface, but I quite like his kind of motivation and that backstory that it kind of delves into or reveals. And I just like a lot of the settings as well, like the big kind of climax being at that really old mansion with all the secret passageways is really cool. So I think that that's why it lost half a star for me. It's just because Sydney is there. It still feels like it's not happening around her. even though she like comes back and then is like obviously very affected by the reveal and everything, I just think it has more impact when the people dying are people that she knows or are like very close to her proximity wise. Like in Scream 2, she doesn't really know the girl that dies from the film class, Cece, but it's literally happening where she is. So obviously that is going to be terrifying. Like in Scream 3, for a lot of these deaths, she's not even in like LA, she's completely removed. So I think maybe that's why it loses half star for me. Anyway, because this is not a Scream vlog, this is a Point Horror vlog, but it's turning into a combo, so we're just going to have to roll with it. I also finished Freeze Tag, and this was very... Oh, also, I forgot to tell you who this is by. I just held it up and was like, I'm reading Freeze Tag. It's by Caroline B. Cooney, and this was very, very close to being a 4-star because I actually was really enjoying it. There's some really well-written moments in this. Like, I was like, that's a really good line. That's a really good description. So the writing was very good. And I thought that Lainey might be Lanny, but that doesn't feel right. So I'm going to stick with Lainey. Lainey is a very unsettling character. So there's 2 things that have not made this a 4-star, and I'm going to go for a 3.5 again. So the first thing was that this really should have been either from West's point of view or a Joel point of view, because a lot of the stuff that's happening is happening to West, and we're not seeing it. We're seeing Megan observe it, and it's all about kind of how it's affecting her, when really it's not being done to her. I mean, it is in a way, because Lainey hates Megan and wants to kind of make her suffer by taking West away from her, but really she also just really loves West, right? Or loves is the maybe not the right term. She really likes West, right? She's infatuated with West. And I kind of wanted to see the things that she was doing to him, because there's a really good bit at the end about how this has affected him and his family. But again, we're only seeing it from Megan the Observer. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to do a spoiler tag for this and for movies, apparently. But I was still thinking it could be a 4 stars because, yes, the writing was really good. And, okay, I didn't like the fact that it was mostly from an outsider POV, right? Yes, we still got to see Lainey being menacing, but I wanted to see what she was doing to West. Like, how was she convincing him to go along with it? How was she kind of like manipulating him? That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see his reactions to things and him coping with it. And then the ending happened, and the ending was weak, because I personally didn't feel like it actually resolved anything. I kind of closed the book and I went, well, I didn't like the ending. And whilst I understand what it's trying to say and what it's trying to do, I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. So it's a 3.5. A 3.5 for the menacing moments, for the overall writing style, and for some of like the discussions in the book. But the ending really stopped it being a 4-star for me because I thought it was weak. So I obviously need to do something about this situation. I have already run my bath and made my coffee, and I'm going to pick up my next Point Horror book, which is over there. I can't bother to get there, but I think it's called Beach House. Beach. What are you called? Oh, Beach House by R.L. Stein. So I'm going to make a start on that. Danny is home from his trip tonight, and Jensen is home from Mum's at some point today. So I really have just had like a whole weekend to myself. I've read, I've watched movies, I've played Baldur's Gate. It's been great. I have just totally chilled. You will see this hoodie again, I'm sure, and get used to seeing the Ghostface hoodie because I'm basically alternating. It's very cold in my house, but I don't want to put the heating on, so I'm alternating between this, which is Beetlejuice, and my Ghostface hoodie, and I'm very comfortable. And that is apparently the vibe of this vlog, is me just being chill and comfortable, which honestly I am here for because I need it in my life at the moment. So I'm not going to worry about whether I'm wearing the same clothes over and over again in this vlog, because guess what? I'm gonna, because they're the most comfortable hoodies in the world, and I'm going with that vibe. So hopefully next time you see me, although I'll still be in comfortable wear, at least my hair will be presentable enough that you'll actually be showing it. Greetings from my frankly freezing living room. So cold. I actually think I might have to use this blanket as well as the blanket I already have. I might need to put the heating on. Oh, that seems like a bold move though. That would be the first time this year, well, not this year, because we had it on in January, but you know what I mean. It'd be like the first time turning it on this winter. I might have to give though because it's so cold. I am over halfway through Beach House. This is Beach House because I didn't show you before. And I am really enjoying this. I genuinely think if I hadn't started it in the bath and I didn't think I need to get out and get ready because I have deliveries coming, I would have just stayed in the bath, kept topping up my water and finished this because it's such a fast read and I'm so intrigued. We're basically in dual timelines. So we're in the 1950s and in the present day, which is the 90s. And in the 50s, there's this group of kids that go to this like beach town for summer. And while they're there, there's a bit of friction in the group and people start to be killed, right? Then you jump forward to the 90s and same deal. There's a group of kids and they are at this same place at the same beach for summer vacation, and I assume people are going to start going missing or something. They've started talking about the fact that there was murders at this beach. This directly plays into one of my fears, okay? Because, I'll do spoilers, very small spoilers. The first death that happens, the girl is tricked to going into the sea. She's not a very strong swimmer. She can't find her way back to the shore. And then she is stabbed multiple times in the sea, which is not my direct fear, but obviously the ocean is my fear. And then she is eaten by sharks. And that definitely leads into my fear. I'm scared of the ocean and things in the ocean. So this is such a fast read. I'm already like 110 pages in. I've got like 100 pages left to go. I have roughly 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours before the boys start to come home. I'm expecting Jensen around 6 and Danny around 6:30, depending on traffic, because they have quite a journey to get back. Can I finish this whole thing in one day? I kind of want to, because I'm really intrigued and I want to know what's going to happen. This is my favourite so far. Do I think it's going to be a 5-star? Probably not. But depending on how this plays out, it could be a 4.5. And that's quite a jump. 3.5 is still a good rating for the other two, but maybe I should have read this one last. It's also the longest one, so that was kind of why I put it in the middle as well, because I thought, oh, it'd be a good place to read the longest book. But now I'm like, oh, this might have been my favourite. There's also like a creepy house in this, which is built half over the ocean. So when you're inside it, you can still hear the ocean going underneath it. Like you can hear the waves and stuff. And that sounds horrendous to me. Like maybe okay for like a holiday, but it's not somewhere I could live. Because what about if you fell in, if the house collapsed into the ocean while you're asleep and you wake up being eaten by a shark? I'm like the girl from the first book, The Babysitter. I'm catastrophizing. I'm like, yeah, that's definitely what would happen. I would wake up in a shark's mouth. I'm gonna go and try and finish this. I would actually really like to finish this before the boys come home. I did think about going on Baldur's Gate, but now I think I'd quite like to finish this. And I found a really good Scream ambience. I know I think I put a clip of a different Scream one in the B-roll. So I've been watching a lot of Scream ambience while I read, because it seems like a good setting, right? And this one is really good because it's just creepy music. The first one, the one that I showed a clip of, was pretty awesome because it had like the Casey Becker phone call, and Ghostface would occasionally run across the screen. And then I found another one which was the Mocker house, Schumacher's house. I can't say it. I didn't say that right at all. Schumacher's house. And every so often Ghostface just pops up in a window or runs across the screen. And whilst that is really good and I love it, this one is more conducive to reading because it's just like ominous. So I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time. I'm going to go and finish this. And then I think when Jay comes home, we might be watching some Naruto. It's been a pretty good weekend, not going to lie. Hi. Next on our tour is my kitchen. I haven't left the house all day. So I'm just showing you different areas of the house to provide some variety. Are you enjoying it? I did cave and put the heating on because I literally couldn't feel my hands. I was so cold. And then Danny came home from his weekend away and I'd had the heating off for so long. Like, I only warmed up the house and then I turned it off, and he walked in and he was like, have you got the heating on because it is boiling? I was like, I was cold, okay? I was cold and alone. I made an executive decision, but now the house is very warm tonight, so my bad. Anyway, I finished Beach House and I am going to give this a 4.5. I'm going to do it. I'm going to give it 4.5. Again, didn't love the ending. What I'm finding is that a lot of the time the ending wraps up very quickly. Like, the big final thing happens quite quickly, and then it's just kind of over, right? But I did still really enjoy this. I did guess one of the things quite early on. To me, it was kind of obvious, but I wasn't sure how it all fit together. So I was like, okay, well, this is clearly this, but I don't know how we got there. So I did still have like a, oh shit moment when it was kind of like revealed. It was a little bit convoluted towards the end, but I had a really good time. This is my favourite of the vlog so far, 4.5. R.L. Stein did a really good job with this one because I read it all in a day, was genuinely so intrigued. Like, I didn't really want to put it down. There was only a big gap because I got out of the bath and did my hair and stuff. Otherwise I could quite have easily read this in one sitting, and it's the longest book out of the 5, I think I said. Yeah, it's 210 pages, which is about 50 pages longer than the others, 40-50 pages longer than the others that I've read so far. So it is that little bit longer. It just kept me very much engaged. I really wanted to know how it was all going to come together. I was flying through it just because it was an easy read but also an intriguing read. So far the hit of the vlog. The next one I'm going to read is called The Invitation, and it's by Diane Ho. Imagine if I'd looked this up. This is about a party. RSVP or die. Very dramatic. Some kids get invited to a party, but they're not the popular ones, and now they're in danger. They haven't been invited to a party, they've been invited to die. So I was going to start this straight after, but I've read a lot this weekend. I've also watched a lot of movies and played a lot of Baldur's Gate, but I haven't watched much anime, so I'm going to do that because it's Sunday night. It's now 10:15 because once again my child dragged out bedtime. This is what happens when your kids get older. They become real sneaky. They become sly and they know how to work the system, and so before you know it, 9 o'clock bedtime is actually 9:30. I've been had by my own child. So when I was doing the ironing earlier, I decided I would pick up Free again. So I had paused it because I'm up to some movies which are half recaps and half new stuff. I don't think it is half new stuff, but it's like a recap of season 2 with some extra material, and there's an hour movie and an hour and a half movie. And I was like, I've just watched season 2. I don't really need to watch it again. So now I think enough time has passed that I can watch it. So I watched the first half while I was doing my ironing. Now I think I'll go back to it, and then I might just watch an episode of something else. I don't know. I'm going to see where the mood takes me. But I'm just going to go and snuggle under a blanket. I'm making a decaf tea. It's really nice actually. It's like, I think it's nutmeg. Maybe I need to go to bed. I think it's nutmeg and vanilla, but it's really, really nice. So I'm making one of those. I'm going to go and park myself, have a look at my very tidy fridge. I'm going to go and park myself in the armchair with my blanket and my decaf tea and watch some anime, and then I'll pick this up maybe tomorrow and I'll come and update you when I'm about halfway through. I think we're back to The 160s, yeah, this one's 169. So we're back into that kind of realm. I'm very intrigued by this one. Like I said, I put them in order. This has now set the bar pretty high, I'm not going to lie. So no pressure, Diane, no pressure. It's shit lighting and a shit angle. It's 12:30 at night. I have been sat in this chair for 3 hours. Oh, 3 hours. I'm pretty sure. On and off. And had every intention when I sat in this chair at 9:30 to finish this book. I didn't update you halfway through. But yesterday, the day before, I was halfway through. I took this to the hairdressers today. I didn't get as much done as I wanted to because I was fucking about on my phone, which, spoiler, is what I've been doing for the last 3 hours when I should have been reading this book. I have 50 pages left. I could so easily have finished this book, which was the plan, and then I was going to watch the second free movie, and I thought that'd be the perfect way to spend my evening. I have scrolled on TikTok pretty much all of that time, and partly I am to blame, okay? Partly I'm to blame. Partly the book is to blame, because this is the first time that I'm like, really not loving this one. Like, I don't see it getting above a 3. It's probably going to be a 2.5. So when I was like halfway through, my main takeaway from it was that I don't love the writing style. It's kind of overly descriptive. This is a 160 odd page novel for teens. It's a horror novel. The descriptions are just too much. It's overly descriptive. Like, we're describing the, here we go. Literally, this is on the first page. Cass leaned back lazily in the brown leather chair and stretched her legs in buttery soft suede jeans, lifting them until her booted feet rested on the shiny surface of the desk. Her thick, glossy black hair curved around her ears, brushing against her soft, pale cheeks. Her dark lashes flickered as she regarded the finished list with satisfaction. Maybe it's just compared to the other ones, but it just feels like a lot, because every single person has that kind of level of description, and I know that sort of description can be fine in a lot of books. It feels out of place. I know that I've only read 3-point horror books in my life, and all of them in the last like week or so, but it doesn't feel like it fits to me. And then honestly, like, just not really enjoying the story. You're following this group of kids. There's like 5 of them. This framing is terrible. I'm so sorry. There's this 5 group of kids. They're kind of like the outcast, but not like the lowest in the social pecking order of this school, right? They get invited to the rich girls' party. It's a very exclusive party. Her parents are in France. She invites all the people and she throws this massive party. All her like ilk. She throws this massive party in her mansion, right? And this year she is using these 5 nobodies, right, as like, she's invited them for a game, basically. And it's taken a turn. Now, to me, I'm pretty sure I have it figured out. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure I've got it all figured out. And it's just a bit all over the place, because what we really should be doing is, remember how, which one was it, freeze tag, I said I really wish that we had had 2 point of views. This time we've got too many. We're bouncing around like our main 5, and then occasionally we'll have a paragraph from some random at the party commenting on something that they've heard or the progress of this game or whatever, and it's just bouncing about all over the place, and I don't really care. That's my main takeaway at the moment, is I kind of don't care. I'm pretty sure I figured it out. The stakes feel a lot lower. The threat level feels a lot lower. and I'm just not vibing with this writing style. So I've got 50 pages left, and I'm just not going to read it today apparently, or any more of it today. I'm going to try and finish it tomorrow, and hopefully Call Waiting, which is the last book I have, I think that's what it's called, will be a win. Definitely did not rank this one. This was not in the right place in the predictions, so it was kind of going in the right direction. 2 3.5s, a 4.5. We needed another 4.5 or a 5. I'm pretty sure this is going to be my least favourite if I ever can find the motivation to finish it. So it's been a couple of days and I have finished The Invitation, so I'm here to tell you about it. I gave it 2 stars, so hopefully this is the kind of worst book of the vlog, like the least favourite book of the vlog, and the last book is gonna finish on a high, because this was not it. So I think I said in my first update I wasn't a big fan of the writing style, and I had an idea of where we was gonna go. Now after that I then thought it was a possibility of 2 things. The first thing I thought it was, I was wrong, but the second thing I was right, and then that thing was explained in more detail, and I'm going to do a spoiler section, okay? I'm going to do a spoiler section because I think it's really lame. I'm sorry. So basically, one of the friend group is fairly new and moved from another school, and she has this kind of like past. So we know that there's something happened, why she's moved here. It's kind of drip fed to us that she's like acting a little strange and she's a bit more withdrawn, and when it all starts she's like in her own head and keeps thinking about that thing that happened without actually thinking about what the thing was. You know that thing they do in books when you're in the character's head and they're like, oh my god, it was almost like that time, no, don't think about it, you know, that really dramatic thing. It was like that. And then what it turned out was it turned out that she had been convinced by a friend that they should rob a jeweler's. One ring. It was an expensive ring. It was like £5,000, well, dollars because it's in America. But they immediately got caught. Okay, immediately, and they became like the town pariahs because they tried to shoplift this one ring. And apparently, this is the worst thing that teenage girls can do. And they immediately became shunned by the entire town. And then her, this character Shane, her parents whisked her away to somewhere else because, you know, they were minors, so they weren't actually like charged. Well, I think they were charged but not given prison time or whatever. So they were allowed to move because it was within the same state. But her friend, this Lynn girl, apparently made up that it was actually Shane that convinced Lynn to steal the ring, even though it was actually Lynn that convinced Shane. But then convinced herself of that as well. And because Shane left, Lynn was left to face the town's derision. She was hated. Her parents disowned her, and I'm not clear on it, but I think they like kicked her out of the house. This like 16, 17-year-old girl, over this one ring. Her whole life had been destroyed, so she decided to track down Shane and kill all her friends because they had made the decision to be her friend, which was apparently a killable offence. Now, here's the thing. None of those friends actually died. All of them were found, because the way that she had rigged up their deaths was part of this game. She basically hijacked a game that the girl hosting this party had done, which was pretty cool. Cruel. She had like locked these 5 friends away. She'd invited them purely to lock them away, and then people were supposed to go and find where they were hidden and get stickers to win a prize. I mean, you could have just hidden the stickers. You didn't have to hide the people. They're people. But then this Lynn girl had hijacked it and was moving people to dangerous places. Like one of them she locked in a freezer, one of them she locked in the sauna, and then turned it up really high, and one of them she locked in a car with the engine running in a barn. So like a garage, sorry. So we're like carbon monoxide poisoning, freezing to death, being cooked to death. I don't know what was in store for the last friend because she escaped, and then she was the one that managed to kind of save everybody. This is all revealed, and the main character, I guess she's like the main character, Sarah, she still accepts Shane and then there's like this moment she's gonna drag her and push her off a balcony, this Lynn girl, and then she actually falls. And it's just all of it. Sarah also has a ill-timed romance with a random guy at the party, or who she had a crush on, but he apparently didn't know she existed until this party, and now he's like obsessed with her, and has become like a hero, and they're saving the day. And so the only person that dies is the one that was trying to kill everyone. It was just a bit of a letdown. Okay. So yes, I did not enjoy the plot. I didn't like the characters. I thought that the kind of whole setup of it was a bit lame. And the thing that was in the spoilers, I know that it's like not good to do that, but it's not really like this life-destroying thing, you know? I just can't see that kind of thing actually leading to this. Like, it wouldn't actually destroy your life. So yes, that's my rambling update on The Invitation. It was a 2 stars. It was not good. This is my last one, Cool Waiting. Actually, why is it 2 stars? Why is it 2 stars? Because I haven't said anything positive about it. I guess it's a 2 star just purely because a 1 star feels mean. This is the last book. It's Cool Waiting. We're back to R.L. Stine. So hopefully, I know that his writing style kind of works for me. Diane's did not. Diane did not. Diane's writing style did not. So, can I read this whole thing tonight? It is currently 6:30. I really want to watch Critical Role, but I really want to get this finished so I can read some of my other October TBR. So I'm going to do my best to read as much of this as I can. I have been abandoned by my child. Shocking no one. Danny's out this evening, and Jensen has something on Roblox called admin abuse. I think it's on Roblox. I genuinely have no idea what it is, but it's like an event thing. So they do events on Fortnite, and I vaguely understand those. I don't really understand this one, but he's very excited about it. So he's doing that. I think I'm going to put on my Scream like ambience, because that kind of works for this. What is this about? A girl who gets creepy phone calls. It's about a girl called Karen who gets sinister phone calls, and she thinks that someone is trying to drive her mad. So phone calls, Scream. That's the connection to me. Listen to the ambience. And like I've been listening to Scream ambience when I read all of these, to be honest, because it's just the absolute perfect vibe. So I'm going to do that, and either when I speak to you later, I'll be halfway through this, or I'll have finished it. It is later that same evening, and I have finished Cool Waiting. So I'm here to tell you about it, and then we'll wrap up this whole vlog. I think this is a solid end because I'm going to give this a 4. I actually really enjoyed this. I read it all in one sitting, and I did kind of see where it was going immediately, but I did think it was really well written, so I was along for the ride. No one in this story is particularly likeable. They're all kind of unhinged, especially our main character. And I think that's why I enjoyed it so much, because we're in her head, and right from the get-go, you're like, this girl's fucking crazy, okay? She's 17 years old. She thinks that her boyfriend is possibly cheating on her with someone else. And in her mind, it's certain. She has decided that he has this thing for this other girl, and she's trying to catch him out. And she spirals fast. Like, she is lashing out at everyone. She is super angry, and she just makes some really kind of terrible decisions. So while she's trying to get this boy, her name is Karen, her boyfriend's name was Ethan, and while she was trying to kind of keep Ethan interested, she starts getting these calls. So while she's on the phone to Ethan, she'll get a call waiting noise, and she gets these calls, and they're saying that they're going to like kill her and stuff. I'm not gonna do a spoiler section. I'm not gonna spoil it. But there was something that I figured out pretty quick, and I was like, oh, maybe that's going to kind of ruin it. But it didn't, because Karen's behaviour was escalating so much, and she was just kind of getting more and more unhinged as the story went went on, and then there was a second twist at the end which I didn't see coming personally, and maybe because I was so focused on the other thing, it kind of slipped past me. There was some good little red herrings. I do think that I give it a bit more leeway because it's a 165 page point horror written in the 90s by R.L. Stine. It was fast paced. It was a good time. Was it amazing? No. Do I still think it's worth a 4? Yeah, I do, because I had a really good time with it, and it wasn't terribly written. I mean, it's not going to win like any literature prizes, but it's R.L. Stine, and he knows how to kind of weave a very interesting, compelling story. It does keep you engaged, and yeah, not my absolute favourite, but definitely right up there in this vlog, because I mean, I read it really fast because I was really like turning those pages, and yes, it is kind of easier writing. It's a YA, it's from the 90s, but it just really worked for me. It really worked for me. So I think it's quite clear. This was my least favourite. 2 stars. Just thought it was kind of a lame setup. It all just felt very silly.
Enough of the silliness.
Silly and dramatic for no reason. So sorry, Diane Hoy. The Invitation is in last place. Then I'm going to put The Babysitter. This was the first book I read. I really enjoyed it. It was a 3.5, and I thought it was a good time. Again, was very easy to read. Was really interested in where it was going. R.L. Stine, good work. Then I would put Freeze Tag. Rate this 3.5 as well. This was by Caroline B. Cooney. I just thought that there were some things that this did better than Babysitter and some things it did worse, but I liked the fact that there was actually some moments where I was like properly creeped out. That kind of threat level was higher. Then in second place with 4 stars we have Cool Waiting by R.L. Stine. I just thought this was such an easy read but so intriguing. Yes, I did know where it was going, but our main character was so unhinged. It was just great to be in her head the whole time, which means the winner of the vlog, 4.5, Beach House, also by R.L. Stine. This was the longest one. It took me the longest to read, but I just had an absolute blast with this. I thought that the kind of premise of it was really good. I enjoyed having the 2 timelines, and again, even though I was guessing things correctly, it was a fun time. So what is my takeaway from this? That there is a lot of enjoyment in this sort of books, and it's made me want to find more point horror, and it's made me want to read some Goosebumps. So luckily, if you've seen Wrong Book Club unboxing, which hopefully you have, Jensen has some of those for me to steal. This is what I would call like relaxing reads for me. Yes, they are kind of like dark and spooky, but they're like young adult spooky, and they're more about, or at least these ones were all kind of about more of a human threat. Yes, in some of them there was like a supernatural or weird element, but really it is kind of about people. And there was just something about them. They were very easy to read. They were a good time, mostly. Ignore that one. They were a good time, and I would definitely read more. And I feel like sometimes if I'm feeling kind of stumpy, or I just don't want anything to tax my brain too much, point horror and Goosebumps are a good place to go. So that's it for this vlog. If you have any point horror recommendations for me, let me know, because I genuinely know nothing really about point horror. I didn't pick these, I was given them, right? But based on the fact that these 2 were my favourites, and that I also enjoyed this lady's writing style, if you have any recommendations for me, please let me know. Or just let me know what your favourite one was. I am also open to Goosebumps recs, because although I read some when I was younger, and I have obviously a couple on Jensen's shelves, I am open to other suggestions. I was actually thinking about this the other day. I think I was talking to, I was commenting on Becca's sprints, Patreon sprints, I think, and I was talking about, I remember vividly reading a Goosebumps book that looks like cheese. But it wasn't actually to do with cheese. It wasn't like killer cheese. It was Say Cheese and Die, and it was about like a killer photograph. That's not the killer camera. And I would like to track that down. I would like to read that again. And I believe there's also one that says Say Cheese and Die Again, which I'm assuming is a sequel. would make sense, right? If you don't have any point horror or goosebumps recs for me and you just want me to know you're here, that purple heart is always appreciated. But also it's spooky season, so ghosts are always appreciated. I mean, ghosts are always appreciated anyway. So ghosts, pumpkins, whatever you want to leave. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're not already subscribed and you like some more content from me, remember to hit that button, leave a like if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.